So yesterday was our first official day of fieldwork.
We visited a school that has on the grounds, as part of their storage buildings, as part of their dormitories, it has buildings which were originally built as part of a detention camp.
We found a really helpful gentleman, Mr. Mweru, and he had been at the school for a very long time. He was able to tell us what the school had modified and what was still intact.
This is another cell. You can see the barbed wire now.
Oh yeah! Which is very interesting from a reconstruction perspective, because it's very good to know what changes have been made to a structure. Then you can be able to see what's original or try and visualize how it looked before.
And this is incredible because we were led to believe that there was virtually no buildings at all from any detention camp surviving anywhere in Kenya. He showed us all the different buildings, like where one of the original doors of the cells that had spy holes in had been reused but turned upside down, so that what was at eye hole level, so the guards could look at the prisoners, is now around your ankles. He showed us one of the solitary confinement cells where the prisoners were held in ankle-deep water to torture them so they couldn't sit for days or hours on end.
It was really interesting to note that the community, the local community, still are very aware of the purpose of these buildings, but this hasn't exactly been communicated to the students. And in a way, I think this represents the intergenerational gap in history where it's not continuous. So some of our historical narratives are not continuous. They stay with one generation and they sort of skip the next. So it was really interesting to see this school, which looks fantastic, the grounds look very good, but to imagine that it was a detention camp where possibly several people were tortured, hanged, or forced into labor.
We saw quite an amazing stretch where the very wide, very deep ditch that surrounded the camp still survives in part, which again we were led to believe this is virtually unheard of. These ditches have all been filled in and the land's been reused. What
struck me was the size of it, the sheer size of the trench, because I never imagined that it would be that big. So this was about approximately 20 foot wide and 10 feet deep. You could still see the curvature and the slope in the land, despite the fact that banana trees had been planted.
So to see what was so clearly the original ditch, just a few meters away from the edge of what was cell blocks, running at a right angle around what was clearly the perimeter of the camp, was remarkable. Overall, it was a really remarkable experience to see such a huge amount of surviving infrastructure of a detention camp. It really made it easier to understand to the stories, the memories that we've heard, that we've read, to see these physical spaces here.
Today we're going to visit Mweru High School. It was mostly a torture camp, as opposed to KANGUBIRI, or what as it was known, Aguthi works camp, which was more of a rehabilitation labor camp. So it would be good to see different types of camps. And do they differ structurally? Do they differ, in terms of layout? I'm really keen on understanding that. I'm looking forward to the fact-finding, the exploring, and also just the experience of being in places and locations that are so important to our history as a country.
We are going to the torture chamber to see where those people were suspected to have serious crimes or hardcore, were being tortured to explain more about or to surrender, yeah, or confession, in other words.
Okay.
It is a way of extracting information. So there was the movement, the oath taking, the movement of the Mau. We have planned to kind of for you to get the information, the torture, and to be there.
This building seems to be was a cell, but later on was converted into a kitchen, as you can see the chimney.
Yeah, that's so clear.
Oh wow!
That is really clear.
And the N is for what?
Mweru wax camp.
Do you think Kimathi in particular has become the most important sort of historical figure?
Yes, as the leader of the Mau Mau, he was their leader. That's why he's considered as an important figure within Kenya. On the morning, very early morning, about 5 a.m. of 21st of October 1956, Kimathi was shot at this place by the colonial home guards, African tribal police. There was a trench which was a zone between the village and the forest. As Kimathi was trying to cross over into the forest, he was spotted by the tribal police, and they followed him and shot him here. In fact, the tribal police, while arguing in their case, had said that they shot Kimathi in the trench. But when the judge disputed the argument, because Kimathi was shot at the thigh, at the front, so he must have been shot
When you were on the ground in the forest.
In fact, he had surrendered. He was squatting.
Yeah.
And immediately, because it was around 5 a.m. in the morning, somewhere between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning, there were two gentlemen. They had some gunshots, and since they were in the colonial villages and there was a lot of hunger, they just came and thought that a buffalo had been shot because it's just near the forest. Only to come and told by the tribal police, "No, here is your buffalo. Take it." This is where they brought him, and this is where they made a stretcher. And people say that they have tried to plant even this tea, but it doesn't grow anything here. The people of Nyeri started commemorating Dedan Kimathi every 18th of February. And since most of the people do not know where Kimathi was buried, people consider that as his grave. And so every 18th of February, Nyeri County marks Kimathi Day. The local politicians and the local community and some people from other counties come to that site, and then they congregate later at there's a stadium in Nyeri town called Dedan Kimathi, named after that hero, where people congregate and have speeches from some NGOs and the politicians and the family and friends. I can say Nyeri County is a privileged county because it has got such historical artifacts in their custody. And the best thing I can say is this: it's up to the government and the county government of Nyeri to make sure that, or assist, these structures should not be tampered with or destroyed for the future, for the benefit of the future generation in our country, because no country can live without its history. And a country without its history is like a tree without roots. In front of us, this is Chinga Dam. Between 1954 to 1957, that's when the dam was dug. The district officer then, nicknamed by the local community Mr. Karuahu, was building this dam for his own leisure and his friends. It was dug by the Mau who were prisoners at Odaya Works Camp. He forced the people who had detention camps to come and dig the place for just a small dam for his own use. But little did he know that in future, the dam became something big. Instead of a small one, it became something big. When the dam was being built, it took over some people's land. And since it was during the state of emergency, no compensations were done. Even today, no compensation has been done to the local people whose shambas were taken over by this dam. It's okay. You can see these are some of the cages.
Yeah,
Fishing, yeah, for fish.
Fish farming.
Yeah, fish farming. You can see these are some of the advantages. What the colonists were doing was something negative towards the community,
yeah, but they
but
turned
now
it into
a positive way.
I think as well, the fact that this lake is artificial is the thing, is like so much of what looks like natural world is cultural. It's man-made, human-made.
Yeah.
What is very interesting is how it has been repurposed for the community, and I think this is a good model for other structures such as camps or other items or schemes that were built on forced labor, to see how they can be of benefit to the communities. So the people who dug this dam were essentially doing it on the orders of the colonial officer, but today, in a turn of events, their children are now benefiting from the structure that is this dam. I would like to look into more detail on repurposing of colonial buildings and repurposing of colonial endeavors and how the communities are benefiting today, and how you can change the meaning of a place without erasing the history.